This is former WWE and TNA Impact superstar Mike Knox, a.k.a. Nux. You are listening to The Final Count. Keep it tuned. Hey everybody, Anthony Corelli here, formerly known as Santino Morella. You are listening to The Final Count.
This is former WWE superstar Victor, and you are listening to The Final Count.
Hi everybody, my name's Berto, and this is my service animal, Hippo, with our good friend Eric. Eric, and you're here listening and watching The Final Count podcast. Yay!
Hey, it's Eric Orris, voice of the Valley from OVW, and you're checking out The Final Count.
Citizens, this is Super Z, and you're watching The Final Count.
Welcome to The Final Count. Here is your host, Rymode Mosley, and your co-host, the 502 Ace, Brian Dixon.
Wow, what is up, guys? You might be wondering why we're live. Well, Wrestlemania 41 post-show reactions. We're going to react to everything on this like kind of impromptu show right here. We're gonna react to everything WrestleMania 41. Neil, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. Enjoyed quite an awesome WrestleMania that we just wrapped up here less than an hour ago. And we're not joined here by just me and you, but we are also joined here by Over the Top Talk host Mr. Owen. He's no stranger to the show. How you doing, Owen?
I'm doing amazing. I mean, that show we just watched a couple minutes ago was very good, so I'm ready to talk about it.
It definitely was. Ready to get into this action, everything that happened. Neil, why don't you start us off here with let's start with talking about the night one.
Yeah. We'll go with night one. What opened that up? Oh, Jey Uso and Gunther. So I'll say my first overall reactions, like you enjoyed it, and I did. There were a lot of good moments. I may be more of the poo-pooer this session than others, but yeah, let's just go match by match of the night. Just kind of, the gist of it. Jey Uso and Gunther. I was not as anti-Jey Uso as some people were originally whenever he won the Royal Rumble, because there was some flack for that. I mean, he's been main event Jey Uso for a long time, and even during the Bloodline and Roman Reigns' reign, he's kind of broken out as he's been a singles competitor, for longer than I think people gave him credit for, and stuff like that. I expected Jey Uso to win. I think it's the finish that I had an issue with, and I think that's what will have most people. Having Gunther tap out, and he's tapped out before. It was how quick it was, and it was also just the booking in general, to where there was a moment where Gunther was running away, like he was scared, and then he actually had a moment where he grabbed the belt and hit him because he has to have it. And I just feel like Gunther, there's a consensus on this guy. It's just he's a brute. It doesn't matter if you're face or if you're heel. And I think that in order for people to really embrace that match, Jey would have had to take much more of a harsher pounding. And I think pinfall was the most appropriate win. A small part of me even wanted them to keep it on Gunther for a while, because I am a huge fan of his. I think he's done a good job. Great entrance, WrestleMania style entrance, one of the better ones with all the yeet flags and stuff. Everyone got up. I'm really excited for Jey Uso. I think ultimately they made the right choice. I did not care for the execution. I think it did Gunther a disservice, and I didn't really understand it.
Yeah, Owen, what do you think?
Yeah, walking in, I think most people knew Jey was going to win. Jey obviously got a lot of crap, because as a singles competitor, they say he only has a couple moves. But I feel like, honestly, that match was probably one of his top matches as like a single star so far. So
it wasn't a bad match. I would say it was really kind of towards the end, and then yeah, I don't like the stereotypical heel booking with Gunther. Like, oh, I have to cheat or I have to do this. It just feels so unnecessary, and it feels so not like him. Because, and I know they've been playing that angle. It's like, oh, Gunther, this isn't him, and it's like, well, it's really not him and his character at all. Like, he can lose. It's not like he's immortal. But I just don't ever see him being this, ooh, I'm scared, I have to cheat. It's just, it doesn't ring true to the athlete, at least in my mind.
Yeah, I'm like you, Neil. I really like I like the match. Gunter topping out so quickly, like he did. I like the tap out. So don't get me wrong here. I like the tap out. I feel like, it's like Jay kind of, for lack of a better way of saying, getting back at Gunther in this way. He tapped out Jimmy, weeks ago. It's kind of his way of getting back at Gunther. I like the fact of the what was it, 3 splashes. I love that. And then here's what I wanted to see. I love when Jay does the super kick. And so I wanted to see at least a couple super kicks before the finish.
I mean, he has a solid one. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's been a deliberate choice for something that he's getting out of his arsenal or something like that. But yeah. I wish the sleeper had looked a little tighter still too. Yeah. Maybe even have Gunther pass out. It's funny because it was a similar finish when Gunther had his second showdown with Ilya Dragunov at NXT. He beat him the first time, and the second time Gunther lost, Dragunov tapped him out in a sleeper, and he did. It just kind of the juxtaposition of how the two matches ended and the pacing they were at. One, I think, just worked a little better than the other, but yeah. I hope that Uso isn't insanely reprimanded. I don't know if you saw him at the press conference after the show, but my God, he was yeeted out of his mind.
Yeah.
I could tell he was drunk. Even before he walked up and took a question, they actually ended up cutting away from him at some point. It's just they.
Oh, well, I think I might have missed it. But that's nuts. Wow.
Yeah, it really is. It was 3 questions, and then you heard someone say, all right, well, we're going on. And then he stopped and wanted to take a couple more. And then they took one more, and then they faded out from him and went to Big E and the panel table for a while. So I don't know. We'll see. He was the first match on. He got to go out of the tour bus and celebrate.
Oh yeah, for sure. And he definitely deserves it for sure. What a night for Jey Uso.
Next up, New Day and War Raiders. Better than it could have been. It did it was put in a death slot, following the first world title match. But I'm digging kind of what the New Day has done. I think it was a good choice for them to because they were selling it for a while, they were going to go against each other and stuff, but to finally have it just them going, heels and stuff, the new music. I think that they haven't fully found their new groove as the reinvented New Day yet, but I think they're well on their way. And I mean, breaking their own record for tag team title reigns. I mean, it was 12. Now they beat their own in 13. It's New Day is arguably, the greatest tag team at this point, or one of them for sure.
Definitely. I guess we'll kind of go in the same direction. So I'll let you go next.
Yeah, I liked obviously the New Day winning. I think that was the right result. I just think the match could have been put on a regular Raw show. And honestly, the TLC match that's on SmackDown, I think should have honestly taken that slot instead of having the Raw tag team. But
yeah. And before I give my kind of reaction here, if anyone that's watching, feel free to put in the comments what you thought about Mania and about the matches as we're kind of recapping here. But yeah, no, as far as this World Tag Championship match, I don't know. It didn't do much for me. I mean, it was a decent match, but I was shocked to see the titles change. I liked it. I think it was a good choice. The New Day finally, like after all this time, getting the tag titles back. So I like that about it.
Yeah.
Again, as you pointed out, Neil, the spot that they were in is not really a great spot for them.
No, the best
act to follow.
Yeah, they did the best they could, with what they had, and it worked. I'll tell you, one of the best, if I'm right about this too, like the second match death slots in WrestleMania, was back at 31. They had the Intercontinental title ladder match that Daniel Bryan run, but the second match was Seth Rollins and Randy Orton, where there was that curb stomp RKO that's like, one of the craziest RKOs of all time. So, I mean, and the New Day bet, I mean, they didn't treat it like it was a death slot match, and therefore, it was, elevated to fair. But I mean, yeah, for what it was, that's probably about, the best they could have hoped for.
Definitely. Let's go with the next match, the third match of night one.
Oh boy, which was, you may have to check, Ryan. We're live. I don't know if I'm guessing. I think it was either the United States title or it was Naomi and Jade Cargill.
I believe it was Naomi and Jade Cargill. So let's go with that.
Sure. You want to start, Rye Mode?
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed that match. I think both Jade and Naomi, they both. First of all, let me go with the entrances. The entrances was great. I really enjoyed Jade, like the weather report type of thing. That was really good. Working with her being the storm is coming, and everything, and I love that. I love Naomi's gear, like the caution tape entrance. That was really nice. There were some pretty good entrances just overall on both nights of Mania, for sure. As far as this match goes, Jade, the ending of it, getting Naomi up for that, was it like it's not a power bomb.
It was, yeah. I was gonna say that move before she hit her finisher. It was like it was that reverse, like she was on her, and then she flipped it, and they did it so smoothly and seamlessly. Yes. Power bomb. That was one of the highlights.
Yeah.
One of the move highlights of both WrestleMania matches, honestly. Yes. I mean, that was a really like, holy crap, whenever they pulled that. Because, I mean, it was just like instantaneous to have like Naomi up on Jade and just like in one jump. And she leaps and flips around and catches her into a power bomb. I mean, it was acrobatic.
Oh, yeah. The height off of it was amazing. Owen, you want to go?
Yeah, honestly, what I took from this is that Jade has really, I feel like she's really improved, like in the ring since she's came into the WWE. I feel like when she first came here, she wasn't too good in the ring, but I feel like after the match I watched last night, she really did amazing. And I do like how they had Jade take the victory in that one.
Yeah, definitely. I do like Naomi, though. I think that she has, a good title reign or a push, due coming to her, at some point and stuff. But Jade Cargill has the star power behind her right now.
Yeah, and you know what? I also love talking about how the commentary talked about, and I believe it was Wade Barrett that pointed it out. So this is not the Funkadactyl's Naomi. This is something different, and I love that they pointed out the transitions that she's made throughout the years, and it really shows how much she's come from, as Owen just pointed out. So, the next match was on night one. Number 4 was the United States Championship match. That was the champion going into it, defending LA Knight, taking on the challenger, Jacob Fatu. And so this match was definitely, I'd say, a candidate for, if not the match of the night. we'll get to the triple threat
No,
later, but yeah, definitely could have stolen.
Yeah, it was one of the more solid matches. I
Mhm.
really think it emphasizes that I don't know what their plans are with Solo Sikoa, but he has definitely been overshadowed by Jacob Fatu.
Yeah,
And Jacob Fatu seems more ready than Solo Sikoa, at least to me, and how he's been presented and stuff like that. The match is good. It went how I thought it was going to go. LA Knight's still really popular, but he's also kind of on this decline a little bit. I think when you put him next to Fatu, people are like, yeah, that's where we need to go anyway. What I said last night after that, and I hope, because I don't know, right now, I think it would make the most sense for Gunther to brush the dust off him, and him and Jacob Fatu feud for that United States title could really elevate that belt, to next level again. So if I'm looking like what's kind of next for both of them, or hoping something that direction, I think would be pretty awesome.
definitely. Owen, you want to go next?
Yeah, that match was honestly really good. And I like how now we have two members of that family that have titles. I really find that to be like really cool. Next steps. I do think we are gonna see Solo possibly turn on Jacob. I feel like they are kind of leaning
Oh, yeah.
towards that for some reason, and yeah, I feel like that's the next direction with that title reign.
Definitely. Good point right there. Solo or Jay, and then also Jay, and then also Jacob Fatu, both members of the bloodline, basically. Both holding titles. Yeah, I love that. That match, like I said, it was definitely a match that possibly could have stolen the show, possibly, one of the matches of the night. Definitely one of the matches of the night for sure, without a doubt. So not possibly, but definitely one of the matches of the night.
I mean, the blunt force trauma that he caught Fatu with off the top rope was a really good spot, as was the finish, the double moonsault. I mean, his speed and stuff is it's next level.
And I tell you what, that crowd came unglued whenever the referee hit the finish. That count the three, and that crowd was hyped to see Jacob Fatu win the title. So yes, hats off to Jacob Fatu right there. And LA Knight for sure. The whole match, both men put on a great match right there. The next match was originally supposed to be Rey Mysterio in this position, but we got a debuting Rey Fenix taking on El Grande Americano, aka Chad Gable, allegedly.
I just thought this match really, I mean, like, it's fine. I like where they're doing it. I don't really think it had any place on the card.
Yeah.
For WrestleMania. I mean, especially with like a cheap finish and stuff, is like, what is it? It really deflates Rey Fenix. Everyone knows it's Chad Gable, so it's like, oh yeah, this is cute. We could do this for a while, but no, like I don't know what the plan was with Rey. Like, was that the same finish that they were really gonna do? Like, I'm trying to imagine like if that match had happened and that's how it ended with like Rey. I don't know, but it seems like it just really kind of put a damper on Rey Fenix's momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like, I mean,
we could have. I'm just thinking this slot, and like we'll talk not to get too ahead of it, but I would say that one of the bigger things about WrestleMania that was a disappointment this year is like no women's United States title match, no women's Intercontinental title match, even though the IC champ was featured on night 2, but you get something like El Grande Americano and the Rey Fenix that could have been like, in the middle of a SmackDown one night. And it's just like, you couldn't have gotten like Chelsea Green and someone else to like defend the United States belt. It's just, that was like the first match that I saw. And I'm just like, you can't really defend that being on the card, with ultimately what they did with it.
No, you're 100% right. Like that's basically a Raw match pretty much, or like you said, SmackDown match or something. Why couldn't they just have just scraped it from the show? Or, I mean, here's an idea. How about don't put people that are going to be on Mania in a match on the SmackDown before? I mean, prevent injury that way. I mean,
yeah, right.
so the it was what it was. The match was what it was to me. I mean, like you said, it really didn't have a place to be on Mania. I love that Ray Phoenix had the opportunity to debut on Mania, have a WrestleMania debut, but like you said, what does it do for him? Really doesn't promote him anymore or anything. It doesn't push him more. But I mean, yeah, I feel like it was just the match itself was just something for Chad Gable to say, "Hey, I got a WrestleMania moment," but I'm under a mask. I mean, nothing more, nothing less. So, Owen, what did you think?
Honestly, I feel like if you were going into that match having Americano win and obviously taking Ray out, whether that injury was real or not, I don't know why
it
they
was
would
real,
put.
is my understanding.
Was it?
He had a groin injury.
I just don't understand why they would put Ray Phoenix in a spot where he's gonna lose on his first Mania. I just don't really understand why they didn't choose anyone else from the LWO or just like remove the match in general. But
Yeah, I think that would have been the better option.
Definitely. Next, we have it's Tiffy time versus Tiffany Stratton defending the title, the WWE Women's Championship against Charlotte Flair. What do you think, Owen? Yeah.
I liked how Charlotte finally, decided to put a talent over instead of just completely just winning a match. But in general, I think that match was really good. Obviously, Tiffany took a complete beating throughout that match. Obviously, her forehead and then her mouth. I don't really know what was going on there. I don't know if she chipped a tooth or like if she was just bleeding in the mouth. But overall, I think they chose the right decision for that.
Yeah, it was one of those. I don't really think Charlotte, like, I was even really crazy about her Rumble win and stuff, and I was kind of worried. I did believe in my heart and was hoping that they would keep the belt on Tiffy, which was, I think the right choice. The match was pretty good. It had some clunky moments too. There was a natural selection that like Charlotte hit out of nowhere that was like, I mean, it was like the equivalent of wrestling air ball almost for a second, and you could still feel like kind of the awkwardness between them. I think it was, it was pretty good. I'm glad that Charlotte was not the winner. I think that would have been a little uninspiring. I think Charlotte Flair really has to answer, like, what is she going to be next? Just other than like the Queen or Ric Flair's daughter. She needs something else. Like, and you can tell, especially on the infamous by this point, promo that she had with Tiffany Stratton on SmackDown, where, they were just going on and stumbling over each other and stuff, is like Charlotte just can't really handle a crowd heckling her, when they're not supposed to and stuff. And like, I'm kind of surprised that, it still can shake her as much as it can. It's like, if you're a wrestler, that's one of the first things you just got to be able to just into the wind, but it always seems to get her.
It does. It really does. I'm like, no, this match, again, I'm with Owen right here. Like, I'm so glad that Charlotte put Tiffany over and instead of, taking and wanting to be champion herself. And like you said, great point right there. Now, she needs to figure out what she's going to do next, how she's going to advance or change up her character. I mean, you got to get beyond.
Which kind of stinks because it's like, if you're going to do that, you would have wanted to do that for her coming back at the Royal Rumble. Because the thing is, she's off the return now. So it kind of seems the best is what, just go away again, I guess, and then come back. Right. I'm not really sure where, it is outside of that. Maybe it's not. Maybe she's just going to be off for a while. I don't know. That's kind of one of the interesting things, is to kind of see what ripples or what's important and what's not. But I don't know. If I were to guess, I would say we may not see Charlotte Flair for a little bit. I might be completely wrong on that one, but I think there's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, the point, I think, what you got to think about is, like, who else can they pair her with? Do they just have her feud with Tiffany for the time being if she does stay? If she does go away, repackage her in some type of way. Do something. Go back to NXT and go back to the Performance Center. Keep her off TV even, and just figure out what to do next. Get her something that new, other than just using her last name. Using her dad there and everything. And so yeah, the match was what it was. The match was really good, actually. There was some spots that were, or some moves right there that could land you on. Can't even think right now.
Like the Botchamania reel?
Yeah,
or something
Botchamania.
like that?
Yes,
Yeah.
There was some botches right there, but the match was decent and it was good, but there were some botches that probably on Botchamania. So, and then before we jump into the main event, let me just for those that are watching, you may or you may not know that me and Neil were in the town of OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling, and CM Punk, in the package featuring Punk, it had OVW in the package, in the video package for CM Punk, and also something I pointed out, Ohio Valley Wrestling legendary voice Dean the Thrill Hill, was featured in that package. His voice was featured in that package. So that was really cool. So shout out to Dean Hill, and shout out to OVW in itself, representing on both nights, 1 and 2, of WrestleMania this year. With that,
that was so significant too.
Yes.
I mean, to have that in the main event package, like footage from like Davis,
yes,
inside, it's like that's big. And I'm a guy who knows what's going for, but it's like I see that, and I almost think of the attention that would garner. And it's just like WWE just acquired, the AAA promotion. They're getting to Japan. I think that there is a chance sometime that WWE might want to pick OVW back up at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the only thing to come. And like, because I was wondering too, is that just a Punker Rhodes thing? Or because I know Al Snow, saw a picture of, J-Rod out in the crowd, there in WrestleMania. A bunch of them, are there or going. So I don't know if that's like, he pulled some strings or something, or if he even knew that was going to happen. But the fact that it did in the way that it is very interesting. And I'm really curious to know, or hope to find out, what was the creative influence decision on that? Like, was that Punk being like, hey, I really want to highlight this? Or was it more of a company choice or someone from OVW? The significance of that, them showing it in such a way that they wouldn't even show it whenever they were like in developmental, for OVW. I can't think of any WrestleMania where in a promo package, especially for the main event, they're showing the ring in the inside of a different promotional arena. Like 41 WrestleManias, that might be a first. Like,
yeah, I know. Well, I know they've like showed a little bit of it, in previous Cena matches.
Yeah, that's true, I guess, also. But just, seeing the ring and the apron with the name and the branding on it, I think is really kind of what puts that kind of elevates it more than just, it's inside and we know that it's there. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah. No, it was definitely different for sure. It definitely was a definite like a call out basically to OVW, and really, hey, OVW's on WrestleMania. OVW made WrestleMania. The Davis Arena made WrestleMania. So yeah, that definitely
a lot of happy fan zone people last night. That's for sure.
Yeah. right? So let's get into the main event of night one. It was the triple threat match: CM Punk versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, and Paul Heyman would be with CM Punk. And my, what a triple threat match this was! Wow, it was exciting from start to finish. A lot of cool spots. Both announce tables crashing. Speaking of announce tables, those new announce tables were pretty awesome looking.
Yes, they seem a lot less arbor, and the sound they make, like kind of plastic. I wonder how they feel to go through, but they kind of clunk harder, and it seems like they fall apart a little more clean though. So I imagine it's got to be a little more stable for them. But yeah, they really showed those off, and that was to good effect, I think.
Definitely. You want to go first, Neil?
No, you go first.
Oh, you want me to go first? Okay, I'll go first. But no, yeah. So that match was like, great spots. Like I said, the tables, the table spots. Just the ending. Although there was people saying, "Oh, this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen." Although I heard people say Paul Heyman is gonna side with Seth. I heard the rumors of that happening. I heard the this and the that, and the people predicting that. Even though I heard that, it still was really shocking. It still was like, whoa. Paul Heyman hitting that low blow, going for the chair. You think he's going to give it to Punk, but then he low blows CM Punk. And then, you think Roman's going to get the chance to, once he gives the chair to Roman, you think he's going to get the chance to get Seth back with that chair. But then you see where the camera kind of pans, and great job with the production and WWE making that, getting that camera in the right spot to see Paul right there as he's right there behind Roman. So Roman's got that chair ready to hit Rollins with it. And then Heyman with the low blow again, but this time to Roman Reigns. Epic. Great storytelling just throughout this whole match. Who wants to go next?
You go, Owen. I'll go last.
I can take it. Out of every single match on Mania, I think this was, the top match. A lot of good spots. Obviously, the Heyman is now, Seth Rollins is now a Paul Heyman guy. I'm very interested to see where that story goes. I think we aren't going to see Roman for a little bit. I don't know if they're going to continue with CM Punk or Seth Rollins going to move on to somebody else. I'm just very interested in where this goes. I mean, if I were to make an early prediction, now that we have this Hail Seth, I would not be surprised if he goes after Jay for that title.
Definitely.
Yeah, at some point, I mean, he's going to be gunning for him. So I had some mixed feelings. So the bulk of the match, excellent. Like, I loved how they were out in the outside going through the audience and stuff, the table spots, everything. It was kind of how the story ended, where it did kind of lose me a little bit. I was one of those that I thought that Paul Heyman was also going to go with Seth Rollins. It just made the most sense to me. Whenever you recycle a storyline, you have to be careful about how you pull it off and stuff. And the thing is Paul Heyman has betrayed CM Punk before. He did it in 2013, even screaming the same line, "You made me do this to you," and stuff. And it was when Punk and Ryback went into a big feud and stuff like that. So I was so that was why after the match, you have CM Punk coming out and he's playing it like he's really betrayed. He's silent. He's not saying anything. He's crying. And I get it. But also at the same time, it's it would make so much more sense for him to just be "I'm such a moron. Paul Heyman's a damn snake in the grass. He always has been. I'm going to kill this guy. I don't know why the hell I ever trusted him again." But instead they're playing it like, I cannot believe Paul Heyman would ever betray me. It's like, dude, have you met Paul Heyman? The guy who's it just doesn't. And then what got me with Reigns is like it was just such a long time getting there. Because also Reigns now has it, sees Paul Heyman literally, betray Punk, low blow him, and you're going to have the tribal chief be like, well, I'm just going to turn my back to Paul Heyman, who would never betray me, and like take his attention to Rollins. And I felt like it was just booking. I just didn't like the ring psychology for the smart tribal chief. What I said at the time and what I hoped would happen for a sec is like, if that match was all up to that point, but then like Roman has the chair and Paul's like, Roman Reigns should just been like, screw you, Paul. I'm not a moron. Whacked him with the chair. And then like pin Seth. Like I almost would have rather seen, Punk can't lose because Paul screwed him over, but Roman still gets it, or come in like that. But just the double betrayal and then being so shocked just doesn't play. And I don't think it really makes sense if you're being honest about watching wrestling, or if you've watched it for like the past 10 years.
Yeah. No, without a doubt, like, you would have, like you said, you would have thought that, like you said, this is the tribal chief we're talking about. We're talking about the tribal chief. Like you said, we've seen Paul Heyman turn on CM Punk before. It's not really anything new.
Paul Heyman turns on everybody.
Yeah, he does. He turns,
and he hasn't done a heel thing in like a year. He's like, well, he's past due for that.
Right, exactly.
It's the conundrum in writing long-term wrestling. I've said to where like certain points, like you're just making it like this person has never seen wrestling or understood, someone in the past. Kevin Owens is someone that gets outside of that a lot, which I'm glad, because you see Kevin Owens, giving people shit for still helping Roman Reigns when they were in the bloodline. And that's one thing I've always liked about Owens too, is he's like, what are you talking about? You were doing this like a year ago or whatever. Like he doesn't let people forget, kind of crap that they were pulling. And I like that element a little bit.
Exactly. For sure. So that closes out night one. Let's talk about night two tonight, or last night, as it's 12:03 in the morning as we're here live. Night two started out hot as well with another triple threat match. This time being the Women's World Championship match, and it was the champion Io Sky defending against Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. Mommy.
I love all of them girls wrestling. I love Bianca Belair. I love Rhea. I like Io quite a bit too. Maybe in that order. I think my fit might be Bianca, Rhea, and Io. I thought they knocked it out of the park. It was one of the better matches on both nights. I was thinking maybe Rhea might get it with without that. I'm ultimately glad where they went with it. I don't think it was Bianca's time to get it back or retain yet. At that point, that wouldn't have felt quite right either. But no, they rocked it, man. They really had a fantastic opening of a match, and they set the bar high for the rest of the night.
I completely agree. Now, I was hoping for Rhea, but I love the way they went with it. I love how they pulled it off. I love the decision there to go with Io Sky because of the build up. And I put this on Facebook, after the match, talking about like how the build up, Rhea and Bianca overlooked Io Sky the whole build up, and in the match she retained. So, like, yeah, you might have overlooked me, but look what, basically she got the last laugh, basically. Io Sky did. So, yeah, great match right there. Great way to start off night two. Owen, what are your thoughts?
I think the match was fantastic. And I liked the result. I thought Bianca was going to win, but Io obviously retained. The only issue I had is I don't understand why they had I don't know why they put this as the first match of the night. Because it really set the bar high for the rest of the night. The other matches were really good as well, but I don't know why they would open up night two with a match like this. I feel like it honestly could have went where the women's tag team match was.
Generally, especially in PLEs, you want to start with a match that's really big to get everyone hooked. And then like kind of have the couple like start big and end big is kind of the idea around that. But I mean, I do think that the match was good enough, like even over. Is it like it could have gone on before, the main event, but then you would have the 2 world titles back to back. So I do understand the booking of why it's there. But another thing is like, it was what, WrestleMania 35 or how many WrestleManias ago where they let the women main event, a night. And it's like, well, they did it for one night and I guess never again because it was just that one. And especially, I think it's pretty bad that since WrestleMania has gone 2 nights since the pandemic, women still haven't made. Is this right? I don't think women have, except that Becky Lynch, Charlotte
37. I think Bianca and somebody may have entered the first night. I think. Don't hold me to that though. Matter of fact, I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, we're gonna check this right now. Oh my gosh.
We're gonna get the facts while we're live on the air. No, this match was really good. I like that they started it out with the match, and everything. And so like you said, it's when you start out the match, or start out a PLE like this, you started out, with something that's gonna pull everybody in, and boy did that pull everybody in, for sure.
Yeah, so good.
The next match, the second match of the night, was the street fight between Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. And I'm going to do air quotes street fight because this was definitely not a street fight to me. To me, a street fight doesn't just stay in the ring. I don't know, that may just be me. But for me, they could have went in the crowd, did a little bit in the crowd, went around the building a little bit here. I know it's a stadium, but still, I mean, we've seen Shane and Miz go in the crowd in the stadium, and that was more of a street fight to me at 35. Same show, 35, where the women main evented. To me, a street fight is more than just staying in the ring or around ringside. I mean, even the Kevin Owens and Stone Cold match fight at WrestleMania 38, was it? I believe, 38. That to me was a street fight. This, not so much. This was just a glorified hardcore match.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, I thought they did some good, they did the best they could with what they have. Yeah. It's unfortunate. I think Drew was the right one to win. I'm excited to see what he has after that. Which, on a side note, real quick, I think you are right. There was one other time, WrestleMania 37, Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair main evented. But besides that initial women's main eventing triple threat, that is the only time that women had main evented WrestleMania. So that's happened twice, and now they're doing it 2 nights. So hey, they could probably make that a little better.
Oh yeah, definitely. But Owen, what do you think about this street fight here?
Yeah, kind of like you said, didn't really I mean, obviously there was the spot where Priest went through the tables.
That was a good spot.
Like you said, it didn't feel too, what a street fight I feel like it's supposed to look like. But once again, I do think they chose the right winner here. Drew really needed a win going into that match. I don't even remember last time he won before walking into that, but he needed that win terribly. So.
Oh, he hasn't for a while. Well, it was also the 1-year anniversary of Damian Priest cashing in on him at WrestleMania. And so, it just, I was like, oh, they can't let Damian Priest get him 2 years in a row. The table spot that Priest took was pretty wicked too, like from the outside of the ring. And I did like the finish where it was like that, and he caught him, and then like just Claymore the chair right into his head and stuff like that. That was, kind of not your traditional unexpected, but it worked, for an ending.
Definitely. No, I agree. I agree. I love that table spot. That table spot was really awesome, for sure. The third match of the night, we had the Fatal 4-Way match, and this match really, there was a lot of good matches on night two, for sure. And I really enjoyed this Fatal 4-Way match. I didn't really do a prediction, but like just going into it, I was like, I predicted either Penta or Dominic, and I love that they went with Dominic. To be honest with you, do I like Dominic? Not really, but I love that they chose Dominic, just because it's like, what a moment that is for him. That was for him tonight.
People really like his Dirty Dom persona too, and he's done a good job with it. Like whenever Mysterio, announced that he had to drop out, of the match, and it's like, well, there's only going to be one Mysterio that could shine at WrestleMania this year, and then Dom's just like, yeah, that's how it was going to be anyway. Just it cracks me up. Like I do like it. I'm happy for him. Solid match all around. I will say, I definitely want to see Braun Breaker after it, because the only thing that match did not do that I wish it did is it really didn't highlight Braun Breaker that much and what he's capable of. If you were just like coming in and watching that match, like Braun Breaker would be like no one to you. Like you would forget him after that night that he was even there. And that doesn't quite really feel right either. Like I don't think he really hit like one of his big spears or runs or his speed. Like, he got some stuff in, a good Frankensteiner, but I kind of wish he'd gotten a little more in. And I feel like he kind of got swallowed up by the match. Not so much his fault, I guess, it's just kind of the overall booking, but it was kind of like, he seemed like an afterthought in it.
Definitely. Yeah. No, they could have made him look for sure stronger than they made him look. But yeah, no, I that match was really, really good to me. I love the Dominic, like I said, love the Dominic one. Owen, let's hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I had Mysterio winning going into this match, so I kind of knew he was going to win. What I really liked that they executed with this is having him get the pinfall over Finn. Because then I think
that was a good choice,
I think tomorrow, I think we're gonna see, maybe Finn gets kicked out of Judgment Day. But I really
Judgment Day's definitely imploding.
I really liked how they had that pinfall, and I do think it tells a good story.
Oh yeah, this feud's gonna be awesome between Dominic and Finn for sure. For sure.
I am interested, and I'm not sure it'd be better because, like, obviously they're gonna feud. But I'm interested to see if like Braun Breaker and Penta, if they don't move on to something else, or they still kind of stay involved also. And it's another kind of like a multi-man going into Backlash. It's gonna be interesting to see if it just shifts to Dom and Finn, or if it, it might be more fun to just keep them, in the ramble of it for a little bit.
Hey, I'd love that. I wouldn't complain.
Yeah, right.
The next match, this one really something, and hopefully it's a teaser of sorts to where we could possibly be going. I have to say thank you to Triple H, Paul Levesque, and Nick Khan, and for this era, because if this was the Vince McMahon era, this would not be happening. We know for sure that this would not be happening. I would say 100% sure this would not be happening. And have to thank TNA management. So we had Randy Orton and his 20-year anniversary of Randy Orton on WrestleMania. And so he was like, I'm not going to miss WrestleMania going into this, with Kevin Owens' injury and everything with the neck injury. And So he had a mystery opponent. Who was going to be his mystery opponent? None other than and like, yes, I was wishing that Nick Aldis would be the opponent after the RKO. How could you not go that direction? But I love that they ended up bringing in Joe Hendry, TNA World Heavyweight Champion, to face Randy Orton. And then another side note, I don't know if anyone paid attention to Randy Orton's trunks or not, but I think that was like a throwback or a holler back to his original trunks that he used to wear when he debuted in SmackDown.
Yeah. Old throwback. It is really cool to see the TNA champion, especially, you know, being able to wear it and come down. I at least would have hoped that they did kind of make him job out a little bit too. Like, I mean, it wasn't some epic, which is like, I was kind of like, but I couldn't see him putting like Joe Hendry over Orton. But it was fine. I was kind of hoping for a Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes thing because, I mean, whenever Seth Rollins there and Cody Rhodes made his return, not just expecting that, but the match they had that night was like a main event. Oh, there we go. But yeah, I don't know what happens with like Joe Hendry from there. Like I at least thought, you know, he maybe like get a couple close pinfalls to Orton or something like that. It happened kind of just fast.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what that does for Randy Orton or for Joe Hendry.
Yeah, true. It was quick. It was too quick, and I mean, I guess you know you kind of had to see it coming in a way, just because like, what really? I mean, did we see Joe?
It just like
saying
for what they did with it, it was like the other. It was like the Rey Fenix match from night one. I was just like, you guys could have just not had this match and had. Yeah.
Just debut Aleister Black or bring Aleister Black back early. You know, just
that's what that or Rusev. I was kind of hoping, and they still, you know, Rusev's already signed and is coming back and stuff like that too. But
yeah, or like I said, go with Nick Aldis, which was what I wanted to happen. But I'm happy that we got Joe Hendry. But Owen, what do you think?
Obviously, for Joe Hendry, it's an amazing moment. I just think. I don't know. It was just kind of pointless. It just felt like one of those just script writers were like, yeah, just go out there for about 2 minutes, take an RKO, and then just come right back to the back. What sucks is we had so much momentum with the Kevin Owens feud that just having this mystery opponent just felt so underwhelming. And I think that's honestly what it was. But
they really had to deliver with the segment for it to live up if they weren't just going to cancel it and do something else. And yeah, I don't think it really lived up to that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Moving on from that, we have AJ Styles versus Logan Paul, the Maverick Logan Paul. I can't stand Logan Paul.
I mean, I'm not a fan of him, like personally, also, or just like the insane influencer rate. This whole age of people that got famous for no particular reason, other I guess than they were rich and they were smart about where the internet was going. I will say, out of all the people that they brought in and stuff, Logan Paul, he has a good game in the ring. I get he has like brand recognition and he makes them a lot of money and stuff. So I struggle, like, you know, there's some of that. You always wish there's, you know, someone who's been wrestling their whole life, they could use that spot more. But I don't think that Logan Paul, in a way, acts in a way that, like, takes it for granted. I was hoping Styles would get over him, but then I was kind of thinking, since Paul's lost recently, it would maybe make more sense for him to get the victory. I thought the match was pretty good. As much as I like AJ Styles, I realized tonight officially, the Phenomenal Forum is great. I'm not a big fan of the Styles Clash as a finisher. It just, every time I see it, AJ Styles is definitely the best at it. But if someone else like gives it him or does it, it just doesn't look like it hurts that bad.
We have a comment that says, "Can you explain to me why John Cena the finish was bad?" Elijah Reynolds. We'll get to that in just a few moments. Just stay tuned.
Oh yeah. Give us like 5-7 minutes. Well, yeah.
Thank you for your comment, though, for sure. That you were saying, Neil?
Oh yeah. Well, I kind of wrapped up. Yeah, the point that was like.
Okay. No. Yeah. Owen, you go next.
Yeah, I mean, I've not a huge fan of Logan Paul. I love him as a wrestler, though. I think every match that he's a part of is a really good one. I just don't. I think tonight was honestly one of his worst matches, to be honest. It just didn't feel like. Don't get me wrong, the match was good, but compared to his other matches, I feel like it just didn't really reach like that level for some reason.
You know what's interesting too is like I feel the same way, but I can't really say why. Like normally it's or this or that, or there's like one specific reason. That match just like it was okay, but it just something didn't really click, and I really just don't know what it was.
Yeah, I don't think that match was honestly that great. Yeah, I agreed on, like you said, his Logan Paul's matches have been better than what this was, and this wasn't all that great. Like I said, I just can't really get into Logan Paul, so I really don't have too much to say about the match, to be honest.
Yeah, he'll be around to stay, so yeah, I'm sure we'll be talking about him again.
Oh yeah, we will. We will. Not that I like to, but yeah, I digress. The next match was another match where we had a mystery partner in this case, but someone we didn't know who it would be. I absolutely love who it ended up being. Of course, Bailey got taken out of this match last night due to injury or due to being taken out of the match. We'd
Due to an unfortunate storyline.
Yeah, due to unfortunate storyline.
Unlike Rey Mysterio, Bailey's injury is not.
Exactly right. But I like why they did it. Although, I mean, why couldn't it be Bailey? I guess we'll never know. Maybe we will.
The man's back. Everyone's happy.
Yeah.
Mixed feelings about it. I love that Becky Lynch is back. She's great. Mm-hmm. The segment and the way they did it really is just confusing because the women's tag belts, like Lyra, I feel like Valkyria should have just defended her Intercontinental title against someone, but I think this is where this is going. And this is where it's obvious because like Seth Rollins is heel. He's with Paul Heyman now. Like they've given Becky Lynch the tag belts with Lyra. How long are they really going to hold to them? It's like, yeah, before Backlash, freaking Becky Lynch is going to betray Valkyria. She's going to get that women's Intercontinental title, and she's going to be with Heyman and Rollins. I give it like,
yeah.
Give it before SummerSlam, man. I promise that's where this is going.
Exactly, like the Heyman power couple, I guess, something like that. I like it. I like the fact that Lyra and Becky won the match. I love the fact that Becky was the replacement for Bailey, and it worked as far as the history with Becky and Liv, and so that all worked out right there. So it played out really well. Good throwback to storytelling as well, and so I think it was a great choice right there. Owen?
I like how we have Becky Lynch. I like how she's returned. I just don't know why they had that whole because I'm pretty sure they got that title shot through that tournament. I just don't know why you would have them go through a number one contenders thing just to take Bailey completely out of the match the night before. I just really didn't understand that too much.
Yeah.
Possibly, they didn't know if Becky was going to be able to come back or didn't have it secured or negotiated yet until last minute. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of, maybe.
Very true. Very true. And moving on to the main event of the night, which would be Cody Rhodes defending the WWE Undisputed Championship against John Cena. who we would find out would win his 17th championship, world championship, WWE championship, undisputed championship, whatever you want to call it. I'll bring up Mr. Elijah's comment again here. Can you explain to me why John Cena finish was bad? I have to agree. Travis Scott. I mean, we get why Travis Scott had a point to do with it.
So I almost really think that Triple H is just pissed off at people bitching about the build to WrestleMania, that he put Travis Scott there just to piss people off. Mm-hmm. I almost think it was trolling because, like, why? Travis Scott had no freaking business. I'm getting emotional about this. And, like, they knew that that's what was going to piss the fans off. Like, this, how I ultimately feel is going to be how all this plays out with Cena. But this is really a conundrum here because nothing about The Rock. Because what's made Cena's turn so interesting is what did The Rock do to convince him and Travis Scott, or like explain this, and then it's just like nothing. Like, so it's still, even though like we kind of get Cena's bad, it just doesn't really make sense. It's a bold move to have him win the 17 title as a heel. I'm glad. I think he deserves it. As a matter of fact, why not the heel turn in our end of year last time? I did predict that John Cena would lose the Royal Rumble, win an Elimination Chamber, and win his 17 title at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. Didn't call the heel turn, but I did call those. So I'll be like, yeah. The other thing that I'll say before you guys go about the main event. So we'll see where it goes. Mixed feelings. One issue I had from a ring psychology perspective is that John Cena, like, yeah, he's one of the best of all time, but he's also been on a losing streak. Mm-hmm. And he is like kind of been weak in the ring and hasn't. So I really thought during this WrestleMania build and when he announced his tour, they made it seem like he was going to be wrestling more. And during this build to WrestleMania on these Euro shows, John Cena should have been having matches and getting better, because it doesn't make any sense that the Cena who's struggling to beat like Austin Theory and Solo Sikoa all of a sudden now is coming back and he's going to out wrestle Cody Rhodes, who's been the champion, who's been wrestling week in, week out. Like, that would have been a stretch even if they had Cena wrestle a couple matches. But I really think you had to have him win a one-on-one singles match before he would get to fight Cody, just to show that, oh, I've still got this. I'm in the ring. Like, I can take, an opponent or an open challenge. Like, he could do that as a heel too. So it just, to me, I didn't really buy that. It's like, and I was watching it and it's like, yeah, he still kind of cheated, but like, it's, yeah, that was my take. How I ultimately feel is how they end with it, but I've got mixed feelings and am not crazy about the ultimate handling of it.
Yeah. Owen, what did you think?
Overall, the match I don't really think was that good. Obviously Cena said in a promo a couple weeks ago he's gonna ruin wrestling. I think this match was a complete I don't know. I just didn't like this match, and I think it's on purpose because.
Did you see his entrance?
One
thing I loved about John Cena's entrance was the black and just the plain text letters. Like, that was funny. That was that. And you all know what's happening tomorrow night. Tell me you see what's coming. What's John Cena going to do tomorrow night, Ryan? Tell me.
I'm honestly...
What's the one thing he's going to do that's going to piss off every wrestling fan? He has to do this tomorrow. There is no way he is not bringing back that spinner belt. Like,
oh yeah. Yeah, he has to. He has to.
I hope he becomes the doctor of thugonomics. Mm-hmm. I'm not crazy. Like, he's in this weird transition now. I get kind of the silent John Cena, but as he becomes champion and goes, I do. He's got a good mic ability also. Yeah. Like, I don't think he used to be silent and brooding much longer. I hope he makes the transition to Doctor of Thugonomics.
you can't have a Cena without the iconic, whether people like it or not, the iconic spinner belt. I was never a fan of the spinner belt either. So yeah, it's gonna piss people off. It is. It will piss people off. Yeah,
I'm okay with it though. I think that's a good move. I think he should do that.
it is. It very much is. And I do hope we get the Thugonomics John Cena again, but a slightly different version of that Thugonomics John Cena. As far as like, I mean, he's with Travis Scott. I think Travis Scott needs to kind of be like a manager for Cena in a way.
How interesting too, they finally had Stone Cold and they didn't like have a worker thing to work with Rock in that match again. It's like, oh, you just have him and he's out a couple of times. Like, because they had Stone Cold come out and do the attendance thing right beforehand. But I think the reason they did it was because so many people thought he was going to be involved in the main event that I think they wanted to let people know that it wasn't going to happen. So they didn't build it. Because the second I saw Austin out there before that, it's like, well, I guess he's not coming out during the main event.
Yeah. I have to bring this up. Speaking of Austin, we saw him ride out on the little 4-wheeler and went around the ring, a time or two. And then we had a crash. How many beers was Steve Austin backstage drinking? Somebody needs to get
Did
him
he crash?
DUI or
I must have
something.
missed that.
But no, seriously, I don't know if anybody went back and watched it, but that lady did not. That lady was trying to get money or something because the guy next to her fell too, and she like slowly.
I didn't even see her notice that. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
She slowly fell down, like slowly sat back in her chair, basically.
Huh.
And just another point with this whole attendance thing. I just don't like how because yesterday they said it was sold out with, I think, like 61,000. Then tonight they were like, yeah, it's sold out with 63,000. I don't understand why they I feel like those numbers are so made up at this point.
It is. And that's the thing about kayfabe is people act like because, wrestling is like kind of a work and stuff that means that there aren't like cons and there are still cons. Like whenever they give statistical information like that, they're in no obligation whatsoever to give accurate information because it's based on a form of entertainment. You see it a lot in like the video game stats too. I didn't even realize like a lot of like the information they have about people from weight to like their certain sizes and stuff are certain wrestlers will demand their stats are higher, whether they actually, are bigger or not and stuff like that. But yeah, WWE's doing this really weird thing where like, oh yeah, sold out, biggest gate ever, every show. And everyone's like, no, it's not. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we can see the empty seats up there. But can we say like, as good as this WrestleMania, like I thought it was pretty good, okay, but like Sandra Peely, but if you were there in person, front row, you paid $25,000 per night, 50 grand, and that's the card that you get. And the mat and the product that you get.
Exactly.
There really seems to be a disconnect with WWE there. And I really think that their ticket prices need to drop quite a bit unless they can figure out how to make the in-ring product 20 times better. But like, I mean, not that it's good, but it's just like they need to get the prices lowered. I think more than it, or maybe they don't. Who knows with all the streaming? But I hope to see that. Because, like, I mean, at WrestleMania 30, when I went, I was on the floor, and my ticket was like $350 on the floor.
Wow.
I mean, it's so overpriced right now. It's just unjustifiably overpriced, and that's why it's been undersold too. And like, what's crazy with WrestleMania is like, if you're buying like an early package and stuff, it's always a risk. Because you don't know what the card is going to be. I remember I got the WrestleMania tickets for Christmas, and it was awesome. And then Batista came in and won that Royal Rumble when no one wanted him to win. And I was like, oh, God, this is going to – and thank goodness, Daniel Bryan, ended up going, and it ended up being, a great WrestleMania. But for a few weeks there, I was just like, I don't even know if I'm excited to go anymore.
Wow. It's the ticket prices. Oh my goodness, and that just for Mania, but just WWE ticket prices in general are just outrageous nowadays. Like just
Outrageous is the correct word to use.
outrageous.
They are outrageous.
Yeah, I remember a couple years ago, went to Raw here in Louisville, and I sat floor, and that was 2021. I maybe paid. I bought the ticket in advance, and it was like 90 something dollars.
Yeah.
Lately, now it's like what 400 or 500, something like that.
Several hundred, yeah.
Like that's ridiculous. Like absolutely ridiculous.
Another moniker they use that's true is WrestleMania 19, a front row seat, $400, and at WrestleMania 41, $400 is the cheapest seat in the house.
Mm-hmm.
The worst, very back nosebleed, and it's just like, WrestleMania is coming to Indianapolis, man. Like I'm trying to get excited for it, but it's like, good Lord, am I going to be probably freaking paying, $1,000 to get a cheap seat both nights, or maybe $1,000 or $1,200 to get a decent seat one night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hopefully something changes between now and then, even. But
I don't know if it will. If anything's not, I think what's helping them money wise and why they can charge it astronomically is I think that like Netflix and streaming and them being on the global market now probably makes up for a lot of money to where a lower attendance isn't going to hit their pocketbook as hard, I would guess. But I don't think it's sustainable for very long. I don't think that this WrestleMania, I think in the history of WrestleManias, this one will be viewed as kind of a letdown and a little bit of a missed opportunity. Might be wrong, but from where I'm sitting, I don't think that this is going to be one of the more revered ones.
Let me ask y'all this. What do we rate this on a scale of 1 to 10? What do we rate this WrestleMania? 10 being the best, 1 being the absolute worst.
It wasn't probably from night 1. I had it at 7 out of 10. I think I'm gonna go for the full show probably 6 out of 10. I don't think it was awful. It just didn't really. I don't know.
Did you like night 1 or night 2 better?
Definitely night 2.
Yeah.
Would you say, Ryan, night 2?
I'd say night 2. Yeah.
I would say night 2 is also my better, and is the whole show out of 10. Man, honestly, I would say like 4.5 or 5. Like decent.
Yeah.
But it's WrestleMania.
I can't give it anything above an 8, so I'm gonna say about a 7.5.
A little more generosity, but not unfair. That's good.
just out of generosity, yeah. So, but I can't go anything above an 8. It wasn't the best at all. Average. So, but we'll
see where it goes from there. It is like, and even though like I'm kind of a little let down ultimately with WrestleMania, my excitement or my wonder for what's coming next is kind of peaked a little bit. So it is interesting how, that wrestling can still disappoint you in a way, but still drive your motivation to want to see what's going to happen next.
Oh, definitely. WrestleMania season, no matter what, it's always still an exciting season. It always brings back that childness in you, and that excitement in you, and reminds you why you became a wrestling fan in the first place. And so, definitely, for sure, without a doubt. With that being said, guys, Owen, I'm gonna let you, as we close out the show, plug everything with Over the Top Talk. Tell us what you got going on over there, where people can let people know where they can find you at and all that good stuff.
Oh, perfect. So you guys can find us on, if you just type in Over the Top Talk, we're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, we're on everything. For projects right now, we have a couple I'll be announcing to the Instagram very soon. So make sure Over the Top Talk on Instagram, and it's always a pleasure coming on other podcasts. So thank you guys.
Oh, you're always welcome to come on, and you know that, sir. So we definitely always be friends, and you'll always be a friend of the podcast here at the Final Count.
We'll hit you up again, Owen.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And we thank everyone for watching this WrestleMania post-show reactions, WrestleMania 41 post-show reactions. Our first live one. This is going to be kind of a regular thing now, as far as after PLEs. And so just be on the lookout for the next one in the coming months and in the next month and next PLE. And so
Backlash,
yeah, be
baby.
exciting. Yeah, do what?
Backlash.
Backlash, yeah. Backlash is the next one. So
we'll see. We'll see where we are then. We'll see if we're still happy or sad.
Yeah, exactly. Real quick before we close out the show here, I'm just gonna bring up one of our sponsors here. Won't go over all of them, but I'll bring up one of them here. So you can head on over to jcountyapp.com now to get your official Final Count hoodie for only $45, and t-shirts are only $25. Again, jcountyapp.com now to get your official Final Count hoodie for $45, or t-shirts are only $25. And Owen, go ahead and share one of your sponsors if you have sponsors over there at Over the Top Talk.
Perfect. So in my Instagram link tree, you'll find our merch shop. If you click on that, I think our prices right now are $35 for a t-shirt. We would really appreciate if you would go over, maybe just take a peek at our merch. Once again, it's in our Instagram bio, in our link tree. It'll be like the first link you'll see, so make sure to check it out.
There you go, fans. Go over there and check out everything from Over the Top Talk, and give Owen some love over there at Over the Top Talk. Go listen to them and watch them as well. All that good stuff. And guys, right now I think it's about that time, as we say all the time here at the Final Count. We will see you down the road. Later, guys.
1,